With Christmas just around the corner, many are flocking to malls and markets in preparation for the traditional gift giving. But this year, the best gift you can give to others is to keep them safe. You can't fully eliminate the risks, but if you understand them, you can significantly lower them. Today, we're here to help you shop safely during the holidays. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. Welcome to MedTalk Health Talk, right here on CNN Philippines. Holiday shopping is usually synonymous with long lines and crowded stores. But like many things this year, you can expect it to be quite different. Customers now want to feel safe, and business owners want to make their stores as COVID-free as possible. We need to prepare for this new kind of holiday rush. With us today is Dr. Ronchin Solante. He's the head of the Infection Control Committee of the Manila Med Medical Center. Also with us is Dr. Limuel Abrujena. He's a family and community medicine specialist from Almasop Siemens Hospital, Manila. Thank you both for joining us today. Now, there are a few simple safety measures that we should follow in malls and markets. First, of course, is to always wear our masks. Now, wearing a mask is not only protects the one wearing it, but it protects those around you. And it's a sign of mutual respect during this pandemic. Dr. Limuel, what are other necessary precautions to take ngayong holiday season at pandemic?
Yes, Dr. Freddy, thanks for having us again. So aside from you wearing your face mask, of course, it's a precaution also to use your face shield. So aside from the face shield, so avoid as much as possible crowded areas like the markets, malls, and malls, okay? Now, if hindi maiwasan, so observe physical distancing, at least 1 meter, okay? And then if you're in the mall, less time inside the mall decreases the risk of getting the virus, okay? And disinfect your hands always with alcohol.
And we can't emphasize enough that social distancing is vital in curbing the spread of COVID-19. Now, I'll go to Dr. Jean naman. Paano mo papanatili ang social distancing habang nasa mga stores or restaurants ang mga tao? And why do we need to avoid places yung sinasabi nilang loud?
Thanks, Freddie, for that question. And that's really very relevant. Why? Because the most important and most common mode of transmission of COVID-19 is still droplet transmission. So meaning droplet can travel within 1 or 2 meters. So if more than 1 meter, the risk of acquiring or the risk of transmission is like 12 to 15%. So that's why maintaining a specific distance will always minimize the risk of acquiring that droplet transmission when inside the mall. No? Number 2, when you are in a place where there is crowding, okay, a lot of these people will be talking, will be shouting, and then you have the tendency that more viruses or virus particles will be droplet or airborne. And then you have a more dense air because you are in an area, probably with just moderate ventilation, but the factor there is the crowding. A lot of people inside a particular room. Then that makes it an important and a higher risk that any individual within that particular area will get the virus.
Remember, online shopping is always still an option. But if you do decide to venture out, continue to protect yourself and those around you by following those measures mentioned. And you can also expect safety protocols in place at the stores, for example. Stores not only require masks now, they require, like what was mentioned, mga face shields as well. Now, still with Dr. Jean, what are some of the other protocols in place?
Yes, Freddy. So for example, I'll give you a scenario. When you go to a mall, and then most of us will go to a specific area or a boutique, when we do shopping. Remember, when you are in that particular area, you always look at how many people are inside. And if there is really high occupancy, load of individual in that particular area, then I would advise not go inside and wait until there will be less people inside that area. The manager should also, what we call, regulate also the number of people inside. Because even if you're wearing a face mask, wearing a face shield, but you will not control the traffic of people inside that particular area, then there is still minimum to high risk. Second is that avoid touching high touch surfaces. These are the knobs of the doors, the any surfaces within that particular area of the mall is always a high touch because a lot of people will be touching that. Remember, the virus can also be acquired through contamination of that surfaces.
Dr. Limuel, please explain to our viewers ano ba nangyayari sa katawan kung bakit nagkakaroon ng fever? And what should one do if your temperature check shows that you have one?
Okay. So, fever actually is a physiologic response ng katawan natin laban sa infection. So, lumalabas na nagkakaroon tayo ng lagnat talaga para patayin actually yung either the virus or the bacteria that came into our body. So, that's the immune system response. Now, if we go to the mall, dapat talagang alam mo na wala ka talagang lagnat. If you're sure na pagpasok mo walang lagnat and yet the temperature record says na mataas yung lagnat mo, so isipin muna natin galing ba ako sa mainit na environment, galing ba ako sa labas, etc. And perhaps, maybe I could rest, okay? So tatabi muna tayo sa gilid, tapos i-check siguro after 5 to 10 minutes, okay? Pagka medyo naimasmasa na tayo. And if the thermometer has recorded na mataas pa din, so it might be good for us to take precautions and it would be best not to proceed, okay?
Okay, very true. And also, fever is just one of the symptoms of possible COVID-19. So you should make sure to monitor if you're exhibiting any possible COVID-19 symptoms. Now, Dr. Jean, could you please remind our viewers again kung ano ba yung mga simptomas ng posibleng COVID-19?
Okay, so ang pinaka most common symptom pa rin, no? One is fever, and that's why we need to check ourselves our temperature. Ang importante dito, no, hindi mo na kailangang sabihan pa. Pag meron kang mga ganyang sintomas, kailangan huwag ka nang lalabas, no? So lagnat, okay, ubo, panakit sa katawan, sore throat, tapos yung pinaka-common ngayon na mawalan ka ng panglasa at yung pangamoy, isa din yan sa mga symptoms na nakikita natin. In some patients, they can also present with abdominal symptoms and including diarrhea.
Very important tips to take note of because the virus usually spreads between people who are in close contact or within 6 feet or 1 to 2 meters of one another. Now, this happens through respiratory droplets or small particles when an infected person coughs, sneezes, talks, or even breathes. So these safety measures are in place to prevent this from happening. When we return, we'll talk about what you should have in your bag to avoid COVID-19 infection. This is Med Talk Health Talk. Keep it right here on CNN Philippines. You're watching Med Talk Health Talk, where your health comes first. Nowadays, stepping out of your homes isn't as simple. Similar to a travel kit, having a COVID-19 kit wherever you go can help you feel safer and more comfortable. Now, I'll go with Dr. Limuel this time. What are some key items to have on hand with our COVID-19 kit?
Okay, so aside from our face mask and face shields, which we should be wearing at all times, okay, perhaps a handy alcohol spray bottle, okay? So pwedeng nasa pocket or nasa bag ninyo. So that at least lagi nyo madidisinfect yung kamay ninyo. As Dr. Jean has earlier mentioned, okay? So avoid touching high infectious surfaces, okay? Kasi namimili ka, diba? So kailangan mo ding i-disinfect yung kamay mo after touching those areas or surfaces.
And more than ever, it pays to be prepared. So don't leave home without these essential items. Tackling holiday shopping requires even more planning than any other outing. So making a list and checking it twice is a good way to reduce the risk of exposure while getting the job done. Now, Dr. Limuel, what are other practical tips naman when planning your trip to the mall?
Okay, so I always tell to my friends, even my patients, if you think the item that you're going to buy in the mall is available online, better buy it online and do not go to the mall. Now, if there's a real need to go to the mall, so always wear our face masks and face shields correctly. Plan ahead. alam mo na dapat kung ano yung bibilhin mo. Do not stroll in the mall. Kung dati ginagawa natin yon, nag-window shopping muna tayo, nag-iisip muna tayo kung anong mabibili. Dapat pagpunta natin sa mall, alam na natin kung saan tayo pupunta at ano yung bibilhin natin. Para less time yung nasa loob tayo ng mall. Kasi it's an enclosed environment pa rin. So, pwedeng very poor yung ventilation. So, mataas pa din talaga yung risk na pwede tayong mahawa.
And another aspect also is that you need to plan because planning makes a world of difference. Now, sometimes you can't avoid touching products or areas when out for shopping. Kasama yan sa therapy ng pag-shopping to be able to touch the items that you plan to buy. But yung paghawak ba nito, should this be changed also? Masama rin na ba ngayon ang paghawak ng mga items for sale? Dr. Jean, can you please explain this to our viewers, the potential risk of touching items while shopping?
Yeah, importante din yan, no? Because these inanimate objects, there are studies, no? A lot of studies that the virus can also be persistent and still be alive in that inanimate objects from 4 hours to even up to 12 hours, no? So when you buy things in the mall, see to it that yes, you still can touch the items, no? But make sure na after touching it, you have to wash your hands either with soap and water or an alcohol rub. Pero pwede na yung alcohol. And siguro we have to remind also, no, the mall owners and store managers that they have to also disinfect their items every now and then, especially during this time of the season.
Now, Dr. Jean, a follow-up question to that. Marami ako nakikita out in order to prevent this or to prevent them from touching things, nagsusuot sila ng mga latex or rubber gloves when walking about, when going around shopping. What is your advice on this?
Well, no, there's no problem with wearing gloves because that's also another barrier that you can protect yourself from directly touching the contaminated surface. Ang concern ko lang dyan is if you are using that gloves, you have to have a specific trash or where you can dispose the gloves. Hindi lang basta iiwan mo yan sa mesa or iiwan mo yan sa gilid because somebody will touch that, then that can also be contaminated. No? So without the gloves, enough na yon yung wala kang gloves. But I think nakikita ko dito sa mga areas na yan, if they are working, marami silang nakahawakang surfaces, then they're using the gloves to make sure na at least meron silang added layer of protection. So importante lang doon yung disposal ng gloves pag hindi na nila gagamitin.
So proper disposal ang napaka-importante din dyan. And when you get home, there's no need to wait before you unpack, but don't forget to wash your hands after. So wash your hands often. And we're taking a short break, but when we return, what to do if you're a business owner. Keep it here on CNN Philippines. Welcome back to the program. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. Now, we know that COVID-19 can spread from person to person through close contact. And this happens through respiratory droplets when an infected person coughs, sneezes, and talks. Now, touching objects on surfaces that have these droplets and then touching your mouth or face can lead to infection as well. And if you're exhibiting any COVID-19 symptoms, don't wait too long. Please consult your doctor. Now, business owners need to make adjustments to keep their customers and employees safe. If you're a business owner, don't worry. We're here to help guide you through this entire process. Dr. Limwell, what are the required protocols in stores right now?
Right now, DTI has released guidelines so that it will guide business establishments on what to do to safeguard yung safety ng employees nila at saka yung mga clienteles nila. So first pa rin dyan yung follow safety protocols, asking their employees as well as their clients to wear face masks and face shields when they are inside the establishment. Observing or disinfecting the hands regularly, and observing physical distancing. Dr. Jean mentioned earlier to limit the number of customers at any time. So if you're the manager, so you should be able to know. Actually, may computation yan in terms of the square meters, nilan yung dapat na tao na nasa loob ng establishment. So yung iba, 2 to 4 customers are allowed at any given time. Okay, so at the time, yung iba naghihintay muna sa labas. Okay, and then most importantly, if one of the employees would develop symptoms, they should report it to the proper authority so that the employee will be properly taken care of and supported.
Experts also recommend that cleaning the store every 4 hours or even more frequently as possible depending on foot traffic or the number of people. Now, Dr. Jean, what are the COVID-19 store cleaning guidelines? Sapat na ba yung every 4 hours ang paglinis o dapat mas madalas?
Yeah, the standard is you have to, as frequent as possible, you have to disinfect or clean the stores. No? So depende din yan sa protocol kung ano yung gagamitin natin, kung what is also being recommended. Every 4 hours or every 6 hours. Ang importante dito na pag naglilinis ka, tama yung paraan na paglilinis at saka yung mga ginagamit yung disinfectant, tama yung concentration para at least assured ka na the disinfection and decontamination is proper and appropriate.
Oh, that's because high-touch areas in stores are breeding grounds for germs like bacteria, viruses, and even fungi. So make sure to thoroughly clean these surfaces. Could you remind our viewers again kung ano ba itong mga considered high-touch areas?
Okay, so una no, pagpasok natin, the doorknobs is a high-touch area, okay? And then yung tables, surfaces, okay? And then if in the mall, yung mga dining area, kasama na doon yung mga kitchen utensils, no? During the preparation of food, sa mga nagtatrabaho sa restaurant, these are also high-touch areas. And at the same time, yung mga walls, yung mga items, I think we also should consider that as high-touch areas kasi every customer will be touching those items, and then the higher the number of customers touching that, then that makes it a high-touch surface already.
Now, ultimately, we need to be responsible when holiday shopping. Dr. Limuel, let's remind our viewers again the steps that need to be taken to ensure our safety and of those around us.
As much as possible, avoid crowded areas. Okay, so kung kayang iwasan ng mall at mag-online shopping, mag-online shopping. If there's really a need to go to the mall, please wear your face mask and face shields always and correctly. Kasi maraming ako nakikita, nakasuot sila ng face mask, mali naman, nakalabas yung ilong o kaya naman nasa baba yung face mask. So please wear your face mask and face shields correctly. Okay? Observe physical distancing and disinfect your hands always and regularly.
Okay, and we're just about out of time. We've learned a lot from the both of you. But before we go, I'd like to ask for a final message for our viewers from Dr. Jean.
We'll only emphasize this, no? If you are going to the mall, you have to ask yourself, am I at risk of acquiring the infection? Who are at risk? Yung mga matatanda, yung may mga kapansanan na hypertension, diabetic, no? Yung may mga malignancy, okay? And then if you're not feeling well, you're also at risk. You should know the risks. What are the risks? If you are in an area with crowded places or crowded area and then enclosed space with poor ventilation, then there's that risk. Number 3, always observe the health protocol standard, wearing the face mask and wearing the face shield, and more importantly, the physical distance.
And Dr. Limuel, your message, please.
So same with Doc Jean, okay? So always look into yourself if you're at risk for acquiring the disease or baka ikaw naman yung mag-spread ng virus, okay? And then always follow safety protocols. Wear your face mask and face shields always and observe physical distancing.
Thank you, infectious disease specialist Dr. Jean Solante and family and community medicine specialist Dr. Limuel Abrojena. We appreciate your time very much. And so many of us are looking forward to our annual gift-giving traditions this Christmas. But remember, safety comes first. Keeping your loved ones healthy is this season's best gift. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and thank you for watching MedTalk Health Talk, only here on CNN Philippines.